How can you make good use of fireworks chemicals that have gotten hard or are too coarse to use as is? Well, one really fast way to grind coarse powders is to use a coffee mill, which you can get for $15 or less at Walmart. You can rescue old chemicals this way, and you can save yourself a lot of money when you buy discounted coarse chemicals. Sometimes you can even get those kind of chemicals for free. For instance, Prill potassium nitrate or chunky style oxidizers like skylighter cells are too coarse to use as is, and they're too hard to run through a fine screen. But a coffee mill will fluff them up into fine, perfectly usable powder in just a few seconds. In this video, I show you how to coffee mill some really coarse potassium benzoate into fluffy powder that works just as well as expensive air mill benzoate that we charge 3 times as much for. The process works the same for most hard chemicals, and about the only thing I would not try to grind this way would be metals. You know, air milled, so-called air milled, sodium salicylate, sodium benzoate, potassium benzoate.
This will air mill.
Costs a fortune.
Yeah.
So what I've got now is some El Cheapo sodium salicylate, which is what got this started.
Right. Salicylate too, huh?
And it's just salicylate like it's used in the food industry.
Yeah.
And we've got some potassium benzoate that's kind of granular and chunky, and I think we've got some sodium benzoate that's the same way. So we want to see if we can make these cheap fuels.
Well, you don't know yet.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I'm totally sure.
Yeah,
but
sure
we want to prove the concept. So we'll use these by just grinding the stuff up. It makes it really fluffy, really quick.
Let's do like turn it into like airflow charcoal sort of, except it's white.
Yeah. And the air milling, the so-called air mill process,
that's what I don't know what it is.
It's a jet. So it takes the powder, and this is what I'm told, and it sprays the powder against a flat metal surface. It blasts it against it.
Kind of like sandblasting.
Yeah, but the powder's so soft that it explodes the particles into really small, fluffy stuff. So it's in the air mill.
It seems to me that stick to the surface.
No, it doesn't. It just breaks into a million pieces. But it's so fine, like air milled stuff, that it just breaks into a million pieces. Because I've got a granular, chunky stuff. This is potassium benzoate.
Tastes good.
And we got to get it to be really fine out of these chunks. We got to get it to be really fine, fluffy powder. So the fastest way I know to do it is to do it in a coffee mill. And we just dump some in. And I locate my top. And I put it on.
Yeah, right.
And I just shake it for about 30 seconds. And once I've milled it, I just turn it upside down. Bingo, I got nice, soft, fluffy material. Now this feels a little grainy to me when I run it through my fingers, so I'm gonna mill it for just a little bit longer.
A particle. I can.
Can you?
Yeah,
individual particles?
Well,
maybe
I'm feeling lumps. I mean,
You might feel some lumps. So I would
feeling
say
clumps.
if you can, then you probably should mill it just a little longer.
Well, can you feel anything?
I'm right on the edge of feeling them. Yeah.
Right on the edge.
Feel it. But here's a good rule of thumb. If you can feel no lumps, it's smaller than 200 mesh. Okay, it's pretty reliable.
Well, it's funny because you feel it, but just your fingerprint is breaking it down.
Yeah.
Right?
That's soft.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say this is ready.